Hey, what's going on, Gaijins and Gaijins? This is Good Gaijin Greg, and I'm back with another video. And today, I want to try something a bit different. So, as you can see, I've got my tie on. So, this new segment I'm going to try is called Greg Sensei. And basically, I want to kind of try to teach you different things that I've learned throughout my now 6 years in Japan. So today I will be teaching you about chopsticks, or as the Japanese call, hashi. So there are actually many different types of hashi just in Japan. There are other countries that have their own types of hashi or chopsticks, but I have only been to Japan, so I'm only going to tell you about those. There are wooden ones. There are plastic ones like these with like little characters and whatnot on them. These long ones are for cooking, and they're called saibashi. I got these as like a gift. There's another pair. They're for like basically when I eventually get a girlfriend, and eventually, I can give her these, and she'll have her pair of hashi and then I'll have mine. And then there's like cheap wooden ones that you get from konbini or convenience stores, like these, just really cheap ones, or you can get these and they're connected, and then you just have to break them. And then they also have beginner ones, or ones that are used to train small children, that are connected, and they're kind of like scissors, and you use them kind of like that. So now I'm going to show you actually how to use hashi. So first, you want to just hold it like the bottom one, like a pencil. And the next one, you kind of want to rest on your knuckle, and they'll touch at the tips, and you use your thumb to press it in between your index and your middle finger, like that. Also like how you would hold a pencil. So you're basically holding two pencils, and you don't want to hold it way up here. It's very difficult to use chopsticks. You don't get as much range of motion. You want to hold it as far back as feels comfortable, and that way you can, it's, as you can see, you have way more range of motion the further back you are. With that, you can have your bowl of food. That's what I decided to make for dinner. And you can you'll get the dexterity to pick up just one thing at a time. Yum. Also, if you're wondering how people use these to cut food, like if they don't have a fork and a knife, how do they cut their food? They just cut down the side, like this. You just run it across and press it against the side, and boom. Simple, easy. Also, sometimes you'll see people like put one hashi in there and just kind of like tear across it with the other. Now I will show you different rules of using hashi. Like basically do's and don'ts, but it's mostly just don'ts. When eating rice, even though this has got more than just rice in it, don't stick your hashi, don't like stick it in there and like leave them. So like don't do like that, because basically it's used for, that kind of motion is used for funerals to offer rice to the deceased. So at a funeral, they would have a bowl of rice and they would stick them in there like that. So you kind of don't want to do funeral stuff while you're eating with other people. And to go with that, you don't want to pass food from hashi to hashi. So from chopstick to chopstick. So like if I pick up a piece of karage and be like, oh, here you are, you don't want to like pass it that way from one person's hashi to another. You want to like set it down, because again, a funeral thing, when a body's cremated, to pass the bones of the person, that's how they pass the bones from to put in the urn. I think you pass it from hashi to hashi. Okay, so don't pass food from chopstick to chopstick. If you're still eating, don't rest your hashi on the side of your bowl like that. That basically means you're finished. So if you're still eating, don't do that, because people will think that you're done eating. Don't do obvious things like don't use them for drums, don't pick your nose, don't chew on the ends, you know, that kind of thing. Don't basically act like a child. The same things you wouldn't do with your fork or your spoon, don't do with these. When you're holding rice or soup, don't hold your bowl with the same hand that you're holding hashi. So don't do this. You're supposed to like hold it in this hand and then use this hand to eat with. Don't use your hashi to like, if a bowl is farther away, don't do one of these. Don't pull it with your hashi. That's considered rude. If you eat something and you have leftover, so like if I grab some rice and then I've got like leftover rice on the end like that, if you can see, don't do that. Don't like lick your hashi clean. That's considered rude. Don't use them to point at people. So if you want to tell somebody, hey, you come here. No, don't all of this. Don't do any of what I'm doing right now. When you're eating, say you're having a hard time like picking something up, don't skewer it like that. That's considered rude. Don't, if you're eating with a bunch of people, like a communal meal, don't pick food up and then put it back. Because keep in mind, this has been in your mouth. So don't pick up food and then put it back. Don't pick up food that you don't plan on eating. And just as like an extra one, sometimes, not all the time, but if there isn't something to pick up food with, sometimes you'll see people turn their hashi around and use the hand part to pick up food and put that on their plate and then go back to eating. So that's something that can be done too. If you're wondering how Japanese people eat soup, because when I first came here, I didn't know. I started my first day at school and we were eating school lunch, and I did not know how to eat the soup. So I just sat there and ate everything else until I watched another teacher eat their soup. Because for some reason it didn't dawn on me that, the obvious choice of eating soup with hashi is you grab the solid pieces of food, so like tofu or noodles, as you can see that I have. And you eat the solids with the hashi, and the broth simply drink. Now, if you're wondering, do Japanese people use spoons? Yes, they do. It tends to be for thicker soups, so like a stew or curry or something like that. They do have these big, deep ones that you use for ramen. That's a story for another time. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments. Do you know how to use Hashi? And if not, will you try to learn how to use it? Did you practice along? Maybe try to pick up something with it. But yeah, let me know if you know how to use them. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Take care. See ya.